sure some of you are right now having a lot of adrenaline. When will this end? How long will this panel go? Right? So don't worry, we'll make it interesting. It's going to be, we heard a lot of science, we learned the process, we learned great masters share their wisdom, and now we will listen how do we apply all those into our everyday life. That is the most important. Doing a bit of meditation related activities. So when we talk about holistic excellence, it is about excellence, all-round excellence. It's not just about health. I mean, you heard the koshas. It's about the multidimensional excellence we talk about. Physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. And that is why some of you have been attending Buddha CEO programs. You know, we talk about those PQ, emotional intelligence, spiritual quotient, and IQ. Right? So there are different parameters to it. And then personally, for me, though I come from a very bhakti-oriented family, my parents were into Satyasai organizations, and that is why probably I got the genes of doing service, and here I am doing meditation service. So most of us knew what a calm mind was whenever we do those bhajans and pujas, right? And then we get into education, we get into college, and then get into work. We have the same old problems, issues that we come in. But when I started practicing meditation, I initially started practicing meditation around 92. I was in Noida, I learned transcendental meditation. I was doing that. And then later around 2002 or 2003, that's when I got introduced to Chandra sir, and through him, Dr. GK sir. So along with them, we learned meditation. And since then, then got introduced to Patriji. So we've been with the PSS movement and Pyramid Valley, as all of you know. So what happened was, as we practiced meditation, I used to practice meditation more importantly to do multitasking. I thought when I'm doing meditation, give me the power to do multitasking. But then, after several years and after reading a lot of science, I came to know multitasking is inefficient. So then I realized, as I did my meditation, it was not really multitasking. Earlier when I was doing multitasking, the next job was always going to happen thinking about it, right? So I was not as efficient. Even now in my classes, when I say multitasking is inefficient, then they say, no, how do we manage multiple things, right? But that meditation gave me that focus, allowed me to do things, what I am doing at that particular time, not worrying about what is going to come. And earlier I used to think in every meeting or every decision, what will other people think? What will other people think about the way I am communicating? What will other people think about my idea? Oh my God, this is a silly idea. Why side do you want to place it, right? So I realized in my corporate career, as I continued my practice of meditation, my communication improved. I didn't think about what others were thinking. I was becoming more spontaneous. I was able to give ideas or present ideas without fear of someone rejecting, someone ridiculing it, right? And that allowed my path. I mean, I was so surprised in some of the meetings when I present an idea. Earlier, I used to think my manager will probably rubbish it. But then a lot of times in those meetings, my seniors used to say, that's lovely, let's start it. Or let's explore it, at least. No one outright rejects it, right? So that gave me the confidence. So the communication, the courage, the confidence, all this developed because my mind stilled. My mind calmed down without all the chatter saying that this is not right, others will judge you and things like that. So that was my foundational benefit till now. And now as we go to corporates and talk about meditation, we talk about performance. Because it's about growth, it's about performance, it's not just about liberation, it's not about moksha, though essentially it is. But in our everyday life, it is to improve our everyday performance inside, which is a physical body, performance within our family circles, performance in social initiatives, performance in our career. Right? It's all about improving performance, how we performing well without expectations or without expectation of a particular outcome. We focus on the process. So that's how my personal experience has been. So now we'll turn to the panel to learn about their experience, their personal experience. So first round, we'll probably go ahead with. The first round is more about your personal experience. So let's begin with Sonal ma'am. Your experience of meditation and how you are using it in your professional life.
Sure. Good evening, dear friends and masters. What a wonderful day. And thank you all for being here this late. And I feel so blessed and fortunate to say good morning to you and good evening to you. So spent entire day full powerhouse. What a wonderful day. Let's have a round of applause for all the masters in the room who's here. Thank you so much. And dear Karthikeyan sir, so blessed that you're here for us. I feel really humbled and privileged to speak in front of you. From the time I knew about you through Chandra sir, was a dream that I wanted to come and meet you in person because I did little bit of homework, to know who really you are. So thank you. I feel so honored to be in front of you and share my little story here. Thank you. By birth, I'm a Jain, so I do knew about meditation, which we called it Kausag at that time. Did not learn any science behind meditation. Officially, my first meditation program was in 1992. I did Art of Living in Mumbai. And just like a young teenager, just enjoyed doing it. Did it for a couple of days, and fell off the wagon. But I think the seeds were there somewhere along the line, and moved to United States in 1999. And I felt that I was quite privileged that I was born and brought up in India with such strong spiritual roots, thanks to my all the masters, all the teachers, and my parents. And having the opportunity going to the West, got the platform to expand the wings, and had beautiful experiences. But the life was different before meditation. After doing 40 days program with Chandra sir, those challenges and painful experiences turned into experiences. So I can smile and talk about it today. So eternally grateful for that, sir. Moving forward, as we talked a lot today about what a yoga and meditation does, and I did get the touch to, learn about everything. Did Kriya Yoga, did Vasi Yoga from Tamil Nadu, and every place I went, it taught me something. Learned something from everyone. As it says, it's not a destination, right? It's a journey, which is eternal. However, the benefits of meditation I did not see until I joined 40 Days for Buddha CEO program. And what really touched me was when it was done, it took me a year before I could commit to it. And when it was done, I thought, oh, wow, I needed to do more. I didn't feel that I had enough. It was truly where I felt my soul was rejoicing. I couldn't express it at the time. But you know how they say, dil mange more. So that's when I joined the coach program because I wanted to know more. I wanted to have more of Chandra sir's wisdom. It was just so infectious. And every day I was in wow factor. Wow, I was writing and writing and writing. Just like I heard from some of our new coaches, they're also going through this similar journey. So I think you can resonate with me. And 40 days when it happened, you don't realize the subtle changes that it's doing, So it was, the key is doing regular meditation. That's when I started seeing benefits. Going through life, life happens, right? I was living a personality-driven consciousness. And after doing regular meditation, now it's 3 years, thanks to Chandra sir, and the platform that he created, because he knows that everybody knows a lot of things, but how do we go from knowing to doing to being? And, the whole program that he has put together, where it's best of East and West. And not only just the program, there's a lot of programs out there, a lot of eminent speakers out there. So what was so different about it? That personal human touch, that compassionate heart wanting to hold your hand throughout the journey. And I heard from each of you that he guided me every step. And so is my story too. So how blessed I am and how grateful I am. So being in medical field, I knew that everything that we're experiencing was psychosomatic, and that is the only reason I was thriving, because, over the years, life happens, right? We haven't learned to let go. We think we've forgiven people, but we're still being non-judgmental. I mean, we are being judgmental. We're still seeing things from the past lens, from the experience that we've had. So even though externally I thought I'm doing well, living this so-called successful life, all the unreal things, the tangible things that we think is, we kind of realize the unreal has become real, right? So going through his wisdom sessions, doing daily meditation, doing Sajjan Sangatya, and the most important, I started reading books. So immense benefit. Whatever I am today here, it's all credit goes to Buddha CEO and Chandra Sir and Vani ma'am. I'm eternally grateful for this beautiful journey with them. And, through them came to know all these masters here. What an inspiration, they haven't slept for days. They're all doing whatever meditation people were saying. So that's when I realized that my motto to be here was to see what I could do more. How I could. There was a time where I needed healing, emotional, mental, and physical. And it was the stress of physical work, not learning the art of letting go, not understanding how to take life as an experience. And once I started learning everything from him, I started realizing that I'm eternally grateful for those challenges of my life, because it wasn't for that I wouldn't be who I am today. So that's when I realized that, universe, as he teaches us, right, what is spiritual scientific mindset is that we are energy beings and connected with each other. And we know we are all one. However, to experience that, I got to do that, after I started regular meditation. Second, that always remember that our thoughts and feelings create our reality, which was a huge turning point. Very clearly, I understood that if I want to change the scene around me, I have to change the scene, I have to connect to my internet, and I have to change things here in order for me to change the scene around me. And it took me a long time. That how did I create all this? I didn't do this. It was a lot of blame and claim, and, we're living a victim mentality, right? And from that, it turned to like, wow, it's me. I'm eternally grateful, So as everybody, had the sentiments that we could go on and on because we all are having this journey. And the last, the fears that we have, I didn't feel empowered to talk to people initially when I finished the program. And that's when I kept pursuing him that, do we have any kind of, training, anything? And that's when, coach program came up and I enrolled. And I realized that what I learned, of course, develop that confidence, that subconscious fears that we have. We don't feel empowered, right? But if you're energy being, because you're only running from your physical mind, once you've learned the technique to connect to your energy mind, then, the universe takes it over. And that's what happened to me, that I have that faith that there's energy, the quantum field is always, there's some power, whatever you call it, that Divya Shakti, Paramatma, quantum energy, whatever relates to you, resonates to you, is always there helping you, guiding you, protecting you. And whatever is happening in this moment is the best moment for you. So, being multitasking at the same time, being mindful for every task that I'm doing. So amazing, Grandmaster Patriji's wisdom, where he talks about how meditation and mindfulness are the two wings. So I was so blessed to, expand on this. So with that, my life completely changed. I was clinically depressed. I was prescribed anti-depressant, which I didn't want to fix it with a pill. So even though, I took counseling, and that immensely helped, helped, because I think you're not self-aware. When you are the provider, you're talking to patients. Very soon I realized that I'm pouring from an empty cup. Being a mother, being a daughter-in-law, being a daughter, you take all these beautiful roles, and I was doing it very lovingly without realizing that I had lost my own zest of life. I wasn't waking up to the happiness. Every night I was crying, and for no rhyme or reason. I used to be in dance and art and was youngest of 4 child. So you can imagine, most pampered, really wanting to do everything at every end. And here I am, just living, So when I started doing meditation, I started seeing that growth mindset. I realized that I feel so grounded, so amazing. I started smiling without any reason. Of course, my depression lifted, started waking up to, doing more creative things, taking on more different projects, even at work. My productivity at work increased. And, we do a lot of things because we know we've become a smart human being, that we know what to say intelligently. But to mean it, our thoughts, words, and deeds, if we take care of our thoughts and words, actions automatically is in alignment. So understood what it is to master the mind. The 4 agreements truly changed my life. How I can be impeccable with my words. How important each thought and each word is. So I learned the science behind it, and just fell in love with the whole thing, and eternally grateful. So doing a lot more things, and truly grateful to all the masters who supports every way, including Ramesh sir and Apurva, who brought us to this platform. So eternally grateful for crossing path with such amazing souls, and looking forward to expand with you. I could go on and on, but keeping time in mind, I will pass it on to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonalji. Good evening, everybody. I know it's a long day already, so appreciate all your patience, enthusiasm. That's what keeps us all going. Okay. First of all, before I get going, I want to express my deepest gratitude to Brahmashi Patriji, Karthikeyan sir, Chandra sir, Vani ma'am, all the Buddha CEO and PSSM community, your family. It's been a wonderful journey working with everybody, learning more and sharing our experiences. A little bit about myself. Been in corporate US for last 25 years. It's just run, just like in India, right? You're going seeking one goal after another, whether it's material or finishing a project or a deadline. So it's been that. And that's trained me to actually leverage my strength of being operationally excellence and put it into more of a workaholic mode. So that's going on. So then pandemic came. So at that time, the company I was in, the organization, I was not too happy with that. And then because of the pandemic, I had this ignominious responsibility of laying off a lot of people. At that time, I was really down. I was wondering, what's going on here? What's going on around? Why am I have to do all of this? All of these doubts, thoughts came to me. At that time, my wife said, hey, there is this online meditation class. Why don't you just join it? It's online. And I'm like, no, I'm not into meditation. I'm not into all this spirituality. And she signed me up. So I didn't have a choice. I had to go and attend this Buddha CEO session. It's a 40-day session. And she told me, attend the first 2 days. If you don't like it, you can drop off. That was our agreement. Boy, that changed my life. So I would say, before attending the meditation sessions, the Buddha CEO and a post, that's kind of how I would break my life. Before that, I was just, like I mentioned, a goal-oriented person. But since meditation, I've become more of a purpose-driven life, leading a purpose-driven life. I'll give you some examples. During the pandemic time, one of the things I learned after a couple of the sessions with Buddha CEOs, 40-day sessions, was a very important note, which I still kind of ground myself on. Where your thoughts go, your energy goes. At first I thought, okay, what's the big deal? It's got a profound meaning. Very similar to what Sonalji said, right? if you have the positive thoughts and intent, good things happen. If there is self-limiting beliefs, that happens too. And that's what I was getting caught up on. I had this excuse, not a good boss, not a good peer, not a good industry, not a good company. And this can go on and on and on. Since then, I've changed my own outlook in life. And it's changed immensely. In June 2023, Vani ma'am and Chandra sir came and graced our home in Seattle. And I explained some of my professional concerns to Chandra sir. I remember that day, we just locked ourselves in the study for 20 minutes and he just made me rethink some of the things he thought in all the 40-day sessions. Just gave me a little bit of a reminder. And that's really helped me. One of the things I told him was I had a chronic back illness. No doctor in the US could solve. They said, no surgery. Every 4 months I'll go get a steroid injection. Didn't do nothing. So he asked me, okay, forget all that. What do you want to do? I said, sir, I want to go jogging. I haven't jogged in 9 years. This was 2023. Last year, I went jogging with my kids every day in summer. No steroids, no medicines. So it's really important how we go about it. And one of the things I have learned is to practice meditations regularly. I travel a lot around the world. I make sure that either I do it in the hotel or in the flight. I do meditation. I have my headsets on and people think I'm sleeping, but I'm doing something else, enjoying myself. So that's got me going. Another example I wanted to share. 3 months ago, my world upended. I'm in a supply chain, global supply chain. In normal world, it's chaotic. But in this current state, it's even worse. There's geopolitical situations, old order changes going on around the world, wars, if you've noticed, tariffs coming up from the Trump administration now. All this chaos has been affecting my work in the last 3 months. But I made one intent. On 21st February, I will be here in New Delhi. 3 weeks ago, there was some chaos and my boss said, hey, I need you here in Seattle. We have got some these tariff things. We may have to go to our local Congress. I told him I'll be there till certain time. On 18th, I'm going to take a trip to India. It's personal then. Simple. And as luck would have it, some things changed. And actually I found I had to come here for a very critical work-related stuff. It worked out very well. Worked out really well. It's how the universe changes things. So with the tariffs and geopolitical things, one of the aspirations I had for the last 2 years is to be part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat, make in India. So the products we are making in other countries, we are going to start making in India very soon. And that comes from that intent. Where your thoughts go, energy flows. So I'm seeing this play out again and again. See, many, many times, small and big. So really happy, very, very thrilled and very, very humble to be part of this wonderful organization. My way of giving back. What I'm very good in organizing things and putting things together, bringing people together. So a year and a half ago when Chandra sir and Vani ma'am had said, hey, we want to start the US chapter and register for our non-profit. Working with like-minded folks like Ramesh and Sridevi ma'am, we actually ended up creating a non-profit organization in the US. It's an amazing progress for all of us. And it allows us to actually spread meditation even more in US, both to individuals as well as corporate America. So very happy to continue that journey. And then our aim is to finally end up going to much more bigger organizations like United Nations, as well as go to the top 5 or top 10 Fortune 500 companies and be able to showcase meditation there for corporate America. Again, in conclusion, I'm just thrilled and it's a privilege to be here among all the esteemed people. Thank you very much. Thank you for hanging in there, patient with all of us here. Look forward to a wonderful conclusion today and a wonderful start tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Thank you. We are not letting you go soon, so you can hang around. So thank you very much, Sonal Madam. We heard how whatever changes in the inner also changes the outer, right? And we want to change the outer, it's through the inner, not necessarily through the outer. And then Karthik sir's manifestation in terms of how the universe helps when you are aligned, right? When you don't worry about things. You wanted to be here and magic happened. Maybe that's why Trump came. Okay. So now let's move on to Priya Singh ji. And before I move on, ma'am, I want to talk about one of the books that Brahmarshi Patriji used to recommend to all of us was Autobiography of Yogi. And if you look at, and I'm sure a lot of them have read, a lot of us in the Paces movement have read the English version. It's been translated to multiple local languages, Telugu, Tamil, and pretty much everyone would have read the book. And as part of Buddha CEO Quantum Foundation, we have book clubs where we talk about that book as well. And for most of us, that's been an enlightening book. It's been the mind turner for a lot of us. And to all of you, Priya Singh ji is one of the key persons, the leaders of the Paramahamsa Yogananda Foundation and globally and in India, amongst a lot of other things ma'am does. Now let us hear her experience and wisdom. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. And apologies for keeping everyone so late in the evening. I saw Karthikeyanji's coffee coming and I was feeling very guilty. so very sorry about that. But really, I want to first begin by congratulating everyone from Pyramid Foundation to Buddha CEO Foundation, of course, Karthikeyanji, for really putting this event together. I don't think something like this has ever happened. And I think what this will do for meditation and world consciousness is something we can't even comprehend. On this size, this scale, this carefully curated group of speakers, I think really congratulations to all involved. I'll begin by saying that just what you said, really, I have been in the corporate world for over 35 years, and that was my world. And one part of my world is still that. And in 2008, I read the autobiography of a yogi. So I do a lot of Himalayan trekking. And I was on a trek, very high altitude in Uttarakhand. And I took this book with me. More as an intellectual curiosity. I mean, I had a very different life, but I was always an avid intellectual explorer, I would say. And I stayed awake the whole night. I couldn't put the book down. And I said, I have to learn what they're talking about. And there was a phone number at the back of the book. So when I came back to Delhi, I called that number and they said these schedule of meditation classes and you can come. And over a period of 8-9 months, I learned all the levels of meditation and I took Kriya Yoga initiation, which is Paramahansa Yogananda's highest technique of meditation in 2009. And for me, it was really, there was just a birth and a rebirth. So my life today on a physical plane, I am involved in the corporate world, I'm involved in the non-profit world and the spiritual world. And what I would like to say is that I'll begin by something that Paramahansa Yogananda said. He said, by practicing these techniques of yoga, it will give you the ability to stand unshaken amidst the clash of breaking worlds. And that's really what these practices do for us, has done for me, because your circumstances don't change, you change. And it's how you navigate your life, and yoga gives you the techniques to do that. If I can just briefly talk about how this change happens and what that, allows. We heard in the earlier talk about the changes on the physical plane. And even deeper changes are really on the inner planes. Paramahansa Yogananda taught that there are 3 levels of consciousness. There's the subconscious, the storehouse of all past memories, karma, emotions, the conscious level with which I am speaking to you right now, and the superconscious. The superconscious is another word for soul, the divine, God, whatever name by which what we wish to call it. And meditation is, through whichever technique we practice, it is the process of raising energy from the base of the spine to the brain and accessing the superconscious. So we can talk about an expanded state of awareness. We can talk about connecting to God, connecting to soul, leaving our ego behind. And when we are able to do that through good meditation, deeper meditation, we access feelings of peace, love, harmony. We also access the powers of intuition. And that's really the difference between an ordinary person and a genius. So someone like Einstein or other geniuses obviously had the capacity to access their superconscious through however they were able to do it. Maybe they didn't formally practice meditation, but it's the place from where answers come. It's from where genius comes, acts of creativity come. So truth is universal. Truth is not created. It exists. It's our ability to draw it down. And meditation allows us to be in that state where we can access not just feelings of harmony and peace, but solutions to problems, inspiration, creativity, all the answers, all the truth that exists in the universe. Another definition of yoga, a definition of yoga is yoga chitta vritti nirodha. That's how Patanjali's second formsum described yoga. So yoga is the process of neutralizing the vortices of feeling. Our whole life, whether we are sitting here or in our work life, we are constantly reacting to outside stimuli. I like this, I don't like this. What yoga does is it allows us to calm that process, and it allows us to act, not react. And that is an enormous benefit that I have experienced in my life, just calming down the reactivity to outside stimuli. Another thing taken from what you were saying is, another sort of Paramahansa Yogananda's breakthrough teachings, which he speaks about in the autobiography of a yogi. He says that thoughts are things, right? I mean, they control everything. And he says thoughts are universally rooted and not individually generated. So every thought that we have exists in the universe. It is based on our level of consciousness that we attract that thought. So if we are in a higher state of consciousness, even if we are having some problem in our life, a problem in our workplace, we will be able to feel peaceful, calm, and thereby attract a solution. But if we are in a lower state of consciousness, even the smallest problem will look like something big, or we'll just be cribbing about nothing, So, and the only way to raise our level of consciousness is through meditation, and then attract the higher quality of thoughts and not be a prisoner of our mind. The last teaching of Paramahansa Yogananda that I'd like to share, and then I'll just, in conclusion, share how it's changed my life. Actually, a cornerstone of his teaching was the principle of magnetism. So what he really shared was that, we are beings of energy. Every cell in our body is made of energy. Einstein said E is equal to mc square. So science also converges on the fact that all matter is made of energy. And Paramahansa Yogananda gave this axiom: greater the will. Will means willpower and concentration, the ability to concentrate, increases the flow of energy. Meditation is also the process of raising that energy from the base of the spine to the brain. And greater the flow of energy, greater the magnetism. And greater the magnetism, and whatever magnetism, so magnetism can be positive, negative, we can have good thoughts, we'll have, let's say, positive magnetism, negative thoughts, negative magnetism, then we will attract to ourselves whatever level of magnetism we are operating at. And the greater our magnetism, the greater we will be able to attract the thought that we are putting out in that time. Like you mentioned, Karthikji, about the seemingly miraculous way that work manifested for you in Delhi. So many things we can't explain are really, explained by this principle. And the deeper the meditation, the more we are in a higher consciousness state of mind, the higher will be our magnetism. It also explains leadership, which is something I'm sure everyone in the corporate world or any other, even if you're a housewife, you have to inspire and lead your children. We all have to deal with. It explains how someone like Mahatma Gandhi, one person, could generate that kind of magnetism where he could inspire a whole nation to, free themselves of British rule. There is also negative magnetism, which explains why someone like Hitler could inspire a whole country to do heinous acts. But the more we can increase our magnetism and do it in let's say, in a positive way, our circumstances will start changing to reflect what we want. All these things that I've talked about, I'm not just speaking to you as intellectual or theoretical principles. I have seen in all my 16 years of practice now doing Kriya Yoga. I practice deeply twice a day. I also teach meditation. I'm deeply involved in the spiritual world in taking forward the teachings. But what I have found, if I could do 3 things well 15 years ago, I can do 20 things 1,000 times better today. So that's the power of these teachings. And I have found that circumstances just manifest around me in many ways that are good for me or that I want, in ways that didn't earlier or I could not at a conscious level make happen. And of course, it improves one's relationships, whether at work. I mean, I can say in my life that, I'm able to have far more harmonious relationships. I'm able to inspire people in my workplace, and I'm able to do it in a way that I'm operating more from my soul level than my ego. And I think that is another thing that meditation does. So I've taken up a lot of your time, but I hope that's helpful.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, ma'am. I know you can talk a lot more about what you've been telling from Yogananda's wisdom. So definitely we will invite you for one of our master classes. We want you to talk to us more about your practice and experience, right? So great. I think we've heard multiple perspectives on how meditation and yoga helps us in everyday life, right? So one last round, just one question for each one of you. Just think about it. So I wanted to talk about one incident, right, where you really felt, wow, thank you, meditation. What would that be?
I can make it the most current one. When I came to Delhi from US, I came to Mumbai to see my mother on the 17th morning. So I spent 17th and 18th with her. And I was to take 7:30 p.m. flight to come to Delhi. And so usually for Air India, it was, you have to go 2 hours before. So the plan was to be at the airport at 5:30, and I reached. And I guess, we didn't see that it was now changed from 7:30 to 6:30. So I had a big line because it's international, Air India has all the international travel too. So there's 25 people in front of me. And so the lady said, ma'am, you're not going to make it. You have to be there 1 hour before and you're already late. So I said, okay. And so I requested, I said, do you mind if I go in front? And they said, no, please. So everybody moved without me even thinking anything. I moved. Earlier it was there. I would have been, oh my gosh, and it would be so much stress into that. So I go still ahead. The inspector says, there's 4 people in front of you. I'll take you in. So here they made me go inside. When I go, they said, sorry, the counters have closed. And I said, I gotta be there. I have a conference. It'll be great. It's saying, okay, let me see what I can do. And I didn't even realize that change has come until that minute. I was so grounded because Chandra sir has inculcated in me that the consciousness knows where you need to be, what you're doing. And wherever I need to be, I will be there. I have great intention. I've taken all the right steps to be there, and I surrender. And that's exactly said, ma'am, you're only allowed 15 kilos. I said, I know, but I said, I have a Himalaya trip. I have a conference. There is no way I can travel with that much. But so they're like, my God, the gate is closed. She wants to go now. This overweight bag. How do I make this happen? And I'm so peacefully standing, and it's all thanks to meditation. And they didn't charge me for any overweight. I was almost, I think 7 or 8 kilos more. Instead of 15, I think I had 30 kilos or something. So everybody knows, right, where I need to work on. Travel light. But the best part is, with all of that, she also took my check-in bag and, she said, I'm sorry, can't give you the upgrades, but I'll take this, and I said, wow, this is amazing, So, and they sent a person, they said, ma'am will not know which way to go. So came all the way to take me to the gate. So I boarded like 15 minutes before. And I said, wow, this is thanks to meditation. So thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. That was magnetism at work, right? But then again, this is a very special case, not applicable to everybody. Yeah, so that happens.
Don't make it a habit.
Yeah, it's like, don't make it a habit. Yeah, so Karthik ji, yes, go ahead.
I did share an earlier example of my dream of actually having factories in India, making things in India. That's happening, so I won't repeat that. But there's one more incident which happened in the last few days, which is more personal. I have a teenage daughter. So those of you who have teenage daughters or had teenage daughters or grown up, you know some of the challenges at that time. In the last few days, obviously, she's going through her own thinking process and she's independent. She took a test and she didn't do well. So my initial reaction would have been, why didn't you do well, right? Like any Indian father, Indian father, why didn't you do well? What's going on? What can we do different? Tuition, whatever. This time, thanks to meditation, I had this internal feeling like I'm not going to react. I'm just going to respond. I'm going to engage with her and ask what did not work with her. What happened in the test which did not work for her? How can I help her? Ironically, my wife, who's the other way around, the calmer one, actually snapped when I was traveling. So my daughter actually reached out to me yesterday and said, Dad, I want to talk to you. And she actually told, hey, this happened, that happened. I said, don't worry, you can retake the test. So it's actually a little bit of a emotional maturity in me as a father which came up, thanks to meditation.
Wonderful, wonderful. Good. My daughters are listening to me, so I hope I am also behaving the same way. All right, so, ma'am, your experience.
While you were both speaking, I was desperately trying to think of some particular incident, and I'm not able to think of anything specific, but I can absolutely relate to so many times where in another way I would have reacted strongly in a work situation or say with my own children, and meditation allowed me to snap that thought pattern or that pattern of how to say swinging into a certain inappropriate action at that point in time, and being able to kind of cut that action and stepping back and then reacting with calmness. And but I can it may not be as powerful as your examples, but the only thing that's maybe I've just come back from this trip, so it's there in my mind. And I was on a trip kind of in the footsteps of Paramahansa Yogananda, and I'm in the process of trying to make the autobiography for Yogi into a web series. So with the writer and the producer, I had done this whole trip, of over 10, 12 days. And we had the most miraculous experiences on that trip. And I just surrendered on that trip. I said, now, whatever you want, whichever places you want us to go master, in our tradition, we call Paramahansa Yogananda master, you open them up. And one thing after the other just manifested, which someone had said earlier, no, they won't let you go here, or this house is shut, including going to Kumbh Mela on the 12th. That was like a big Snan day, and everyone had said the traffic will be crazy, you won't make it. Everything was just smooth as clockwork, and it was just, I went in with the intention saying that, Master, you manifest what is it you want to happen. And I just saw each thing unfolding in that way, which normally would never have happened, But only the process of complete surrender and faith enabled that. So it's just topmost on my mind, so I'm sharing that.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm sure you'll have a lot more. So yes, surrender, acceptance, presence. So all these are the benefits that we get following a path, right? Following a path that all of us want to. And all of us, for most of us, it's around meditation. So really wonderful. So you heard a lot of wisdom, and we've seen how the wisdom is essential for us to live a life of peace and manifestation here. So thank you very much, distinguished panel. I am privileged, honored to be talking to you. And thanks to all the masters and friends here for staying so long. So we'll want to felicitate you. I hope I got it right. Felicitate you before you leave.
For more details about Project Excellence, write to us at excellence@buddhaceo.org.